Today we're going to go over the RYDR-9 MATCH V2 bipod. This bipod is super unique because it has all the features of a high-end bipod at an actual reasonable price. We're going to go over the features of the V2 and some of the upgrades and who this bipod really is for. This bipod was designed to give shooters the features of a high-end bipod while keeping the weight and the cost in check. One of the biggest upgrades to this V2 bipod is the push-button deployment system. It's just right there in front of your hand. This replaces the old ring and cord system from the previous bipods. So this bipod has it all and huge upgrades from the first model. So we have push-button deployment system, which is really nice. You still have your 3 steps in there. This is against the rifle, 45 and 90. 3 steps on the sides here, so you can go to whatever length or height you need to, but this thing gets extremely low, way lower than the previous models. And for a 9-inch leg sections, you couldn't do this before. So that's definitely well at prone and a very low position. We have a push-the-button deployment system, which is brand new and super nice and handy. You also have a updated pan system. That's incredible. A small lever to change your cant. Really nice adjustments there. 3 different steps here on the sides to where you can just push these buttons and get down the lower. And you can do one or the other or both at the same time to where you can get this sucker extremely low. For extreme shots or whatever you need, pretty awesome. So this gets around 4 inches off the ground of your rifle. So pretty awesome to be able to get that low. All right, so an updated cant lever. This is easier to access from the rear of the rifle. It is also an updated lever. It indexes, so you can move that wherever you want it, and it's just a nice, smoother ergonomic design. So on the back of the bipod, you'll see that lever, and with that, you can level your rifle, cant your gun to wherever you need it to level that gun out, so you can take a good shot, no matter what the angle is or how your setup is. Really, you can just get your rifle set up there, lock that in, and your rifle will not move. You can also leave that tension a little tight, so you can just push it a little bit just to get to where you need to get level. So you have your carbon legs here, 3 sections. The weight is approximately 24 ounces. Height from 4 inches to 28 when the bipod is completely extended. So quarter turn leg adjustments and individual section adjustments. Or if I just want that one. So that way you can adjust to whatever the terrain has out there. And that could be, you know, whatever, a rock, a boulder, a log, whatever you need to. But then you can adjust each section and get that bipod right where you need it. The highest setting on this bipod is 28.5 inches. That's with the legs fully extended. This gets you way high enough to shoot sitting, squatting, whatever you're doing that way. I actually shot a bull with the bipod all the way extended this year, just like this. To get to the lowest position, you're gonna move these feet out to the widest point. And right there at 90, it's 4 inches. Or if you even go to the 45 degrees, it gets even lower. I mean, that is well low enough to shoot prone. Whether you're on the range or shooting on a flat surface, that is extremely low and prone. But that is really cool feature with the longer legs. You couldn't even get this low with the previous Ryder 6. Large rubber feet for grip on a variety of terrains and concrete. The rubber feet are great for the rocks and terrain, so they're not sliding around. It's great on concrete or anything if you're at the range as well. Ability to swap from ARCA or a pick with the same head, or you can do individual heads, but I can go from the pick head there, quick release, to if I had a full ARCA rail on this rifle, I have an ARCA set up for that. Fine tune each leg for a variety of terrains. You could fix the cant there if you needed to by just adjusting that. 360 pan is done on a lever right here. This also indexes, so you can put that wherever you need it, but you're just gonna let that off to use the pan feature. And that way you can use this in any position, leaving your bipod set up in the same position, but follow your animal or your target without moving. And then you can just go back, lock that in, and it's stable. All right, just kind of want to show you some key differences with the previous bipod models. This was the first Ryder 6. You can see on this one, you have Allen wrenches where you can tighten that up on a pick plate. So that was how that one worked. This one also had a system where you pull the cord to get to those different positions. Still the 45, the 90, and the one that's stored against the rifle. And from there, you have the RYDR-9 Match. This was the first version of the 9 Match. So this one had a little bit different setup here on the head. You did have a pan feature. And then you also had your cant, but it was a bigger lever. But it still had that. And you had the O-ring, pull cord to get to your different heights. Now we have the updated version of the RYDR-9 Match Bipod with the push button deployment system. You can get to 45 and 90 just by pushing that button. Hold that button down, you can go all the way back to there. An extra step in here so you can get these lower. Updated cant lever, and of course the all-in-one head. So on the RYDR-9 6 original model, this was your lowest position. You could maybe get a tiny bit in 45. Yeah, so right in there was your lowest position. Did have a pan feature, and your cant feature was underneath here. This also mounted with 2 screws, and if you didn't have a long enough ARCA plate, you would have to set it up, and so half of your mount would hang off of the end of the rifle if you didn't have a long enough ARCA plate. So this was the RYDR-9 Match original model, version 1, and the lowest position you could get on this at 90 was there. You get a little bit more at 45, but that was your lowest setting. So you weren't quite, I mean, you could get prone there, but it was a little bit of higher prone. Compared to those, you can see how big a difference, height difference that is. You can really get prone with this bipod. It's pretty incredible. This even at 90, all of them are at 90 right now. This is the Ryder 6 here, way lower than that. And this is the previous model, RYDR-9 Match, the lowest position at 90. So you can see a huge difference there to where this can really get down to about 4 inches from your rifle to the bottom of the ground, and you can shoot prone with that incredibly well. RYDR Match 9 gets lower than any other previous models. It also gets taller. So obviously the 9 is going to be taller than the 6. It does get about 1 inch taller just because it has a shorter spread because of that extra step in there. So it gets taller and lower than the previous model. When you receive your Ryder bipod, it'll come in a nice carry case. So we're going to open this up and see what's inside. Loctite and some directions. Loctite and our Allen wrenches. Okay, so you can see we got the bipod, some blue and red Loctite thread locker, and then a couple Allen wrenches and our warranty slip. This also has some directions on how to set this. Okay, now depending on which head you selected, there are 3 different options. You can go with a pick head, an ARCA head, or the all-in-one match head. All 3 will mount into these 2 screws here. So with each head, you can install them into those 2 screws. So we can either put the pick, the ARCA, or the all-in-one. All right, to install the pick head, quick release pick head, 2 screws, and an Allen wrench. And you can install this either side, but just super simple. You can put thread locker on these if you want, but we are going to be switching them out, so we will not put those on at the moment. You can start these screws. Grab the other one. Those good and snug. And now our bipod is ready to be mounted. You can see that quick release lever. You can adjust that tension just a little bit, depending on your pick. So now that we have that installed, we can install it to our rifle. So we're going to put that on the pick rail where we want it and lock it in. Okay, so this is a great option if you're only going to run the bipod on your pick rail. It's a quick release, so you can easily adjust that, put it on, and take it off. Same process for the ARCA head. This is the quick release ARCA only adapter. So that goes in with the 2 screws on top of your bipod head. You're going to slide that on there, line it up with the holes, drop your screws in, Snug these up. Your bipod's ready to go. So the bipod is now ready to mount to your rifle. So we have an ARCA on right there. And we can put that over the ARCA plate, lock that in, and our bipod is ready to rock and roll. Quick release. Bipod comes right off. Alright, so the all-in-one head does both ARCA and pick. Also has a quick release lever. And we're going to mount that too. Mounts the same way. It's got the 2 holes that line up to the bipod head. You're going to slide that over. Grab your screws. Same as the pick and the ARCA head. This is a tiny bit heavier, but then you have the ability to swap from either ARCA or pick, no matter what your rifle has on it. So we snug that up. Now with our head installed, we can put that on the pick, lock that onto our rifle, or if we have an ARCA rail, we can put that on the ARCA plate. This makes it nice if you're swapping between 2 different rifles or multiple guns, just to be able to do that. You don't have to change your head out every time. Now once you have a head for your bipod, you can install this to the ARCA or the pick. And now we're going to work on our tensions. This is something that Ryder Industries suggests. So once you have your bipod installed, you're going to want to adjust your tensions, and you're going to want to put Loctite thread locker on there so that those are set to your rifle, whatever that weighs and whatever tensions you like on your bipod. So we're going to take the Loctite that's included in there, the thread locker, and we're going to install that on this bipod. So before you put your Loctite on, I like to just kind of get a feel for how I want my tensions. So I can adjust my legs and kind of just feel where I like those, how I like to pull those out, you know, how much tension I want, you know, depending on how heavy my rifle is, does it hold it? Check this leg, you know, see how much do I like. Right now it's pretty stiff. A couple points where you're going to install Loctite, you're going to have it at your main pivot point here and on the leg sections on the sides here. Okay, so with the included Allen wrenches, you can back these off. And these will be the screws you want to put your thread locker on. So we're going to go through all this, put a little thread locker on all of it, and put her back together. Now with the blue Loctite, I like to use this because it's not forever. If I ever need to adjust it, I can. The red is more of a permanent. Just put a little bit of that on there. These threads. Throw that back in there. Get that started. And we're going to come over, flip this. Grab our blue Loctite. Put some on the threads here. Just like that. And it does come with 2 Allens because you're going to have to tighten this from both sides to get this perfect. So get those back in there and take our Allen wrenches. And screw that sucker in. Alright. And I can see that's pretty loose, so I want to get more than that. So we'll keep on going. Where are we at there? That's a little better. And you just keep adjusting this until you get it where you want it. Yeah, like that feels pretty good to me right there. That's about right. All right, we'll do the same process on this other leg. Grab our Loctite. Start that. And go to our other side here. grab our screw, a little bit of blue Loctite, put that in our leg section. Screw that guy in. Do the same on this. And we're going to kind of feel where we want it. Maybe just a little more on that. I like that right there, guys. Beautiful. Now our leg sections have been Loctited. We can also Loctite that main joint if we need to. This is for a guy who wants versatility in his bipod. You don't just need the little tiny one to shoot prone at the range with. And real hunting situations, especially out here in the West, I run into situations where I'm shooting sitting more often than I am prone. So having a bipod that I can do both with is absolutely crucial. And a huge advantage to me as a rifle hunter or a muzzleloader hunter, because this bipod can be mounted to anything you can put an ARCA or a pick on. The updates to the V2 bipod with the updated push button system and the updated cantilever make it more user friendly. So whether if you're hunting, shooting, or you're competing in a match, this RYDR-9 MATCH bipod has all the features you could want without going into that 4-figure category. So get yours ordered at RYDRindustries.com.